Hey guys, it's Chloe, and today I am here with a book talk / review of Ruby Red by Kerstin Gier. So guys, first of all, I would just like to point out that I recreated the colors of this cover in my makeup. It took like 45 minutes, but I did it. And if you follow me on Twitter, you can go check out the pictures, which is pretty awesome. My lips are more pink than they are red, but we're just going to roll with it, so yeah. Which brings me to a question before I really get into this book. Do you guys want to see like tutorials of how to like recreate the colors in makeup? Because I will totally do that. That sounds like something really awesome, really fun. Maybe Ruby Red is the Once Upon a Read-Along book of the month. We are reading this #ReadRuby. If you don't know about this, you should totally join us. I will link my announcement video down below, and you can go watch that and learn all about it. Ruby Red by Kerstin Gier. First, I'm going to do a brief summary, what I thought, like the non-spoilery section. This is for the people who haven't read the book yet. And then you can go read the book, and you can come back and watch the rest of this video with all the spoilers and more in-depth thoughts. Ruby Red is about a girl named Gwyneth. She lives in London in the year, I think, 2010-ish, maybe 2012, one of those. And she is 16, and she comes from a family that has a time travel gene. So, like, some of the people in her family are time travelers, which is really, really interesting. And the gene it was thought to have skipped over Gwyneth, and was in her cousin Charlotte. And then one day, Gwyneth gets the dizzy feelings that you get before you time travel, and she time travels like 3 times, and turns out she has the gene and Charlotte doesn't. She tells her mom, and then basically she is unprepared to do anything time travel. Charlotte has been raised her entire life to know what to do, and Gwen hasn't, so she doesn't know what to do, and she's freaking out. Don't blame her, really. She needs to learn what to do really fast. Overall, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I was really, really worried I wasn't going to like it, but I ended up loving it. It was great. I have the second one, but I'm not going to pick it up just yet. I really liked the main character. She was just easily lovable. Her best friend Leslie is really awesome. I really love her. There were a few things I didn't like with this book, and it's not necessarily that the author did anything wrong. I think it was more on my part. When I was first started the book, I could not picture where she lived, and it was just really, really hard to picture that. And I think partway through the book, maybe around here, my mind kind of figured out a mental picture of where she lived. It's really hard because she lives in this big mansion, probably Victorian style, 3 or 4 floors to it, and she lives with a bunch of extended family, so it was really hard to picture that. I think that was more I just couldn't picture it. I was having a hard time. Maybe it wasn't described a lot in the book. Yeah. So that is it for the non-spoilered section. Those of you who haven't read the book, please click out of video now and go read this book and then come back and finish it. Those of you who have read it, stay with me. Yeah. So, goodbye, non-spoilery people. Goodbye. Okay, so, Ruby Red, Kerstin Gier. I've already said it, I freaking love this book. The prologue, when I read the prologue, it's with these 2 people who aren't named, and I was kind of just rolling with it while I read it, but I felt like these could have been our main character's parents, and they just weren't named. And I thought, okay, well, maybe she's adopted. She's not. As far as I know, she's not. That was my first main thought when I started reading this. Okay, so my main thoughts didn't really come in until a quarter of the way through the book. Let me start off by saying I freaking hate Aunt Glenda. Why? She is a bee. She's being a bee when she wants to, and I don't like it at all. When Gwen tells her mom that she's time traveling, her mom's like, holy crap, whoa, okay, I need to take you to this temple place to, yeah. And it turns out that Gwen is the Ruby. She is the 12th time traveler that they need to complete the circle. And Aunt Glenda thinks her sister, Gwen's mom, Grace, is freaking lying. She's not lying, she's telling the truth. Her mom is just like, this is Gwyneth, she's the Ruby you're waiting for, and Aunt Glenda's over here like, that's impossible! Utterly, totally impossible! Gwyneth was born on the wrong day, and 2 months premature, and underdeveloped little thing, look at her! Okay, first of all, does it really matter that she was premature, like, she's small? Does it really matter? She can still time travel, okay? Get over yourself. And then, on the very next page, Mom's like, she traveled for the first time yesterday. I just don't want anything to happen to her. The risk grows with every uncontrolled journey back in time. And Aunt Glenda, she laughs sarcastically, and she's like, no one will take this seriously. It's just another pathetic attempt to make yourself the center of attention. No. Why would you lie about something as serious as this? Especially if Gwen is not prepared for it. Why would you do that? Just why would you lie about something that serious? You don't, okay? Thank you. And that goes on. Freaking 15 pages. Like, Aunt Glenda is just like, no, you're not doing this. You're such a liar, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you don't lie about something this serious. And this is like one of my favorite lines throughout this entire thing. There's a guy, his name is Falk de Villiers, and he's one of the Guardian people or something like that. And he says to Charlotte, he's like, Charlotte, how are you feeling? And Charlotte's like, I still have a headache. And then Aunt Glenda comes in, there, you see? And then Mom, oh, the mom snapped back. I loved this line. I have a headache too, but that doesn't mean I'm about to start traveling in time. Take that. What? So my second point, which actually happened before the whole Aunt Glenda thing, that was just the first thing I wrote down, is the first time Gwen time traveled. I kind of predicted it almost. Like, as soon as she tripped and she felt dizzy and everything, it's like, she's time traveled, that's it. She's in time, back in time. And then, lo and behold, she looked up and she's like, oh crap, this is not the right time. And I kind of guessed that she would travel back and then, like, she could go, like, back and forth, but even though it was uncontrolled, she would go back. She wouldn't be, like, stuck in time. Like, that would be horrible. And then I had a theory. That when Gwen traveled back in time the third time when she was at school, and she saw the person that looked exactly like her, okay, and then later she meets Gideon, and Gideon looks exactly like the guy she saw with her doppelganger. I have a theory with that. I think that the doppelgangers are actually Lucy and Paul, her cousin and her cousin's love, who stole the chronograph. That was my first theory, but then as I read on and I was like more towards the end of the book, I updated that theory with, what if the doppelganger she saw of her and Gideon were actually her herself in the future, like on a time traveling mission. It was a good theory. It never got answered in this book though, so I have to read the second and the third one to see if my theory is right. Then we actually meet Gideon. Gideon is a time traveler. He is Diamond. That's his stone. And he's been a time traveler for about 4 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. And first of all, when we first met him, I hated him. He was such a butt. Like, he was so arrogant and self-centered, and I freaking hated him. And then, by almost towards the end of the book, so like around here, I actually started warming up to him because he was getting like sweet and he was being nice to Gwen and everything, and he actually remembered her name, and it was so nice, and he has won my respect. I respect him now. I love him now. I also think there's this guy, he's a guardian apparently, his name is Count Saint Germain, and he might be dead. We don't even know. I think he is the bad guy. Like, apparently he's the good guy. I'm pretty sure he's the bad guy. Like, everybody's just like, no, don't trust him. Yes, we're gonna trust him. He's probably the bad guy, most likely. Then I came up with another theory. There is a picture in here. There's 2 pictures in here, 2 graphs. I don't know what you would call them. Oh, there's the first one. Okay, so this is the male line of descent of time travelers, and Count Saint Germain, who I think is the bad guy, is Emerald. And I think in Emerald Green, the very last book in the series, if he is the bad guy, then like Emerald Green is going to be like the big showdown, and that's why it's called Emerald Green. And then for the second book, I have to find the other graph thing first. And then you have the female line of descent, and Lucy Montrose, who stole the first chronograph and went back in time with it. She is Sapphire. So I thought that in Sapphire Blue we'd finally meet her. I was wrong. We actually met her towards the end of Ruby Red. So I have a feeling that in Sapphire Blue we're going to see more of her and know more about her. And it kind of makes sense a little bit. I think it does. And then, the freaking icing on the cake, page 317 in my book. Is it 317? Wait, yeah. 317 and 318. Gideon and Gwen. Gideon finally kissed her. Finally kissed her. Like, this entire book is just like... So it's like, who's Gideon? I don't know who Gideon is. Wow, Gideon is like really arrogant. Blah, 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 blah. You need to stick to the mission. Blah, 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 blah. Arrogant. Okay, you're a little better now. I like you a little better. I like you a little better. Finally, and they kiss. And it's like kiss and... And what? Holy... What? Yeah, finally! Like, it was like building up, because, you know, they always hate each other before they like each other. And then, I like you, I like you, I like you, I like you. Boom! Smooch right in the face. Yes! That was like the biggest part of the book. That was my favorite part. And then I had one more theory, and it was with the epilogue of this book. The epilogue. Now, at this point, I had completely forgotten about the prologue because I read it like a week ago, and I'd completely forgotten. And it says Hyde Park, London, June 24th, 1912, which is the last place that Gideon and Gwen traveled together in this book, where they met Lucy, was in 1912. And I'm reading it, and it says, and I'm reading it, and the names are still not mentioned, I don't think, in this. And it said, I don't think I'll ever get used to not wearing jeans anymore. I miss them badly every day. I had to think. I was thinking, like, wait a minute, who are these people? And then it hit me. 1912, where Gwen and Gideon met Lucy and Paul. I don't think I'll ever get used to not wearing jeans anymore. I miss them badly almost every day. Mind you, if you take the chronograph back in time, you can't go back. So you're stuck there. It was Lucy and Paul they were talking about. And then when I realized it was the same people from the prologue, you go back to the prologue and it says, we shouldn't have abandoned her. She needs us. We've no idea if our bluff will work, and no chance of ever finding out now. We'd have been even less used to her dead. If we could only have hidden away with her somewhere far off under other names until she was old enough to, and then it was cut off. They'd have found us anywhere we went. We've discussed that 1,000 times already. We didn't abandon her. We did the only right thing. We made it possible for her to live in safety, at least for the next 16 years. That is almost proof. Proof right there that Lucy and Paul are Gwen's real parents, even though there is no mention, no question that she is adopted. Not a one. That's proof. Like, drop the book. I'm out. Tell me that's not proof that she's adopted and she just doesn't know it. Like, Lucy is not her cousin. Lucy is really her freaking mom. It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. So, that is it for my crazy book talk thing. Just, again, overall, I love this book. I hope you loved it too. It was such a good read. And don't forget to join us for the live show on February 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, time subject to change. And we don't know, it's either going to be on my channel or Danny's channel. We're figuring it out. So guys, as always, if you liked the video, press the like button. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. You can follow me on all the links that are down in the description. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!